Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today we are diving into a really mind-bending concept that totally flips how global industries connect, operate, and scale. Let's jump right in. We're looking at a blueprint that takes one single domain name, localunion.com, and turns it into this massive macroeconomic engine. We aren't just talking about another basic website directory here. No, we are talking about a universal digital gateway. Think of it as a mashup of a marketplace, a professional guild, a social network, and a supply chain coordinator, all rolled into one giant unified ecosystem. So that brings us to the million-dollar question, right? How in the world does a simple web address scale up to coordinate entire global industries? Like, how does a domain name actually manage to organize everything from your neighborhood plumber all the way up to massive multinational hardware fleets? Well, the secret sauce is actually a really brilliant mix of human psychology, structural internet architecture, and open system tech. And honestly, it's absolutely crucial we understand this foundation before we even look at the technology itself.
Okay, it all starts with the name itself. When we define local union in this new context, we are not talking about a traditional labor organization. The ones bound by physical union halls and super strict geographic borders. We're talking about a universal digital gateway. And the reason this name is so incredibly genius is because of what's called instant semantic trust. The words literally do the heavy lifting for you. For over a century, the phrase local union has carried immense psychological weight. It just instantly screams protection, community, quality standards, and collective power. So by adopting this specific phrase, the platform inherits all that historical trust right off the bat, completely bypassing the need to burn billions of dollars trying to educate the market on what the brand even means.
And watch how this name naturally translates into pure, scalable internet architecture. The source material calls this a bottomless domain architecture, which is basically a fancy way of saying it scales infinitely. Think about it. The word local gives you infinite geographic scaling. You've got boston.localunion.com, austin.localunion.com, you get the idea. Then the word union unlocks infinite industry scaling. So you can have plumbers.localunion.com or electricians.localunion.com. The whole thing scales geographically and by trade, seamlessly, without ever dropping an ounce of that core brand trust.
All right, part one, building a digital guild. Let's get into it.
So how does this actually look in the real world? Well, for millions of self-employed pros, small businesses, and industrial crews out there who don't have massive institutional backing, this platform steps right in as a modern digital guild. It scoops up buying power across the industrial, commercial, and residential sectors, but it does it without all that traditional bureaucratic friction. By bringing everyone under one digital roof, these workers suddenly get access to group rate liability insurance, universal safety certs, and standardized contracts. They even get legal protection blueprints and cross-brand tool warranty management. It is literally all the collective perks of a union, streamlined for today's independent worker, but, and this is key, without the endless, mind-numbing committee meetings.
And the community side of this is intensely practical. Right now, pros are scattered all over the place in fragmented, ad-driven spaces like Facebook groups or Reddit threads. But picture a highly useful, unified professional network instead. Imagine a residential plumber in Boston runs into a super weird, rare pipe failure. They just snap a quick photo, drop it into their specific trade feed, and literally within minutes they are getting real-time troubleshooting advice from seasoned industrial pipe fitters halfway across the world. No trolls, no random noise, just highly targeted problem solving.
Now, while they're interacting in these custom feeds, they're also passively building up their professional credibility. The platform uses these real-time proof-of-work portfolios. So instead of handing over a static paper resume that anyone could exaggerate, workers are uploading actual photos, peer verifications, and project specs. It creates this living, breathing, unfakeable resume that clients and general contractors can just inherently trust.
Here's the real kicker, though. By gathering this highly engaged audience all in one spot, the platform essentially becomes the master broadcast network for every trade. It turns into a decentralized media network. We're talking training subchannels, live site walkthroughs, and product reviews. And because it totally owns the attention economy of the modern workforce, massive brands like DeWalt don't have to bother buying static ads anymore. They can actually pay to distribute their official certified training courses, safety updates, and new product drops directly to the exact segment of workers who use them.
Moving right along to Section 2, the Master Control Hub.
Shifting gears to the technology layer, we run into a really fascinating question. Why is a digital domain actually more powerful than the physical tools doing the heavy lifting? Well, think about it. A physical tool, no matter how high-tech it is trapped inside its own plastic casing, right? It can only do the one thing it was built to do:
But a software platform, a domain, that has infinite scalability.
Let's put that into perspective. Think about a closed, hardware-bound system. DeWalt's Tool Tracker, for example, is amazing, but it only manages DeWalt tools. On the flip side, LocalUnion.com acts as an open API gateway. It's totally industry agnostic. It brings together DeWalt Bluetooth chips, Milwaukee OneKey systems, Bosch trackers, and heck, even Caterpillar heavy machinery all into one single master dashboard. It's the neutral territory where all brands and independent contractors actually coexist. I mean, think about how annoying it is to need 5 different apps just to control your smart lights and thermostat at home. Now imagine that headache scaled up to a massive commercial construction site.
To really grasp the value here, put yourself in the shoes of a general contractor running a multi-million-dollar commercial job. You absolutely do not want to juggle 5 different apps to figure out where your gear is. With this single master control hub, you can track your completely mixed tool inventory, monitor the fuel efficiency of your heavy machines, and verify the check-ins of all your different subcontractors simultaneously. It creates absolute market lock-in simply because the utility is just off the charts.
But hey, it isn't just for the big enterprise sites. This scales down perfectly to the residential level too. Imagine a homeowner who is about to let a stranger into their house to fix a water heater. Through this exact same gateway, that homeowner can instantly pull up the incoming contractor's live safety certs, their background checks, and even see the active telemetry of the tools they're bringing in. It basically hands everyday people enterprise-level transparency.
Okay, Section 3, supercharging with AI. This is where things get sci-fi.
Now, this is the layer that takes a static directory and shocks it to life. Let's walk through this, because this is where the macroeconomic engine really hits the gas. First up, predictive labor dispatch. The AI literally analyzes upcoming municipal permits and demand, auto-routing certified crews before the jobs are even officially posted. That keeps the revenue flowing. Next, we have cross-industry supply chain AI. The system monitors tool wear and tear across thousands of sites, predicts exactly when a saw or a drill is going to die, and actually auto-orders replacement parts from local vendors. Then there's contextual media. The AI scans those community forums we talked about, and if it notices a spike in questions about a specific new electrical panel, boom, it generates and pushes out a short training module to the relevant workers. And finally, the Smart Gateway Copilot. Imagine a worker stuck on a tricky install. They just talk to an on-site AI voice assistant that has already memorized the complex blueprints and safety manuals, acting as a real-time expert technical advisor. It's like having a master tradesman in your pocket.
Finally, Section 4, the ultimate competitive edge. When you stack all of these pillars together, the semantic trust, the digital guild, the open API gateway, and that insane AI engine, competitors are just left at a massive structural disadvantage. Hardware giants like DeWalt or Makita make phenomenal tools, no doubt, but they remain boxed in by their own plastic and batteries. It's incredibly difficult for them to build an organic, welcoming community for, say, a cleaner or a plumber who doesn't even use their heavy equipment. But LocalUnion.com, because it's an open digital gateway, it rolls out the red carpet for every single trade and every single tool brand equally. Now contrast this with today's massive gig economy apps like TaskRabbit or Angie's List. There is a stark difference. A lot of those platforms treat workers like totally replaceable commodities, which inevitably leads to massive worker burnout and crazy high churn. This new model actively counters that. It builds a true supportive community network that focuses on upskilling, coordinating resources, and literally protecting the livelihoods of its users. And what about traditional unions? Well, they're typically restricted by localized geography and incredibly rigid, slow-moving legal frameworks. This digital ecosystem, on the other hand, scales horizontally. It rolls out digital protection, cross-brand tool integration, and massive network effects at the breakneck speed of internet commerce. It is, quite literally, an entirely new paradigm. So, that brings us right to this incredibly powerful takeaway directly from the source text. LocalUnion.com is not just a website, it is the operating system for localized, distributed, and industrial human productivity. We've just seen how one single domain name, fueled by historical trust, open source tech, and AI, can act as a massive economic engine. So it really leaves you wondering, as the physical tools we use to build our world keep getting smarter, is the digital infrastructure connecting them ready to keep up? Are we actually looking at the blueprint for the next industrial revolution? Thanks so much for hanging out with me on this explainer, and keep questioning how the world around you is built.